This is a 2002 Ford Focus that came in for a starting problem. Came up with a code for p0320, which is normally the crankshaft sensor. I found when this vehicle came in, the sensor was already replaced. It already actually has a new coil pack. I checked the cam sensor, and that is all fine. What I actually found out was, while I peeled back the timing cover to check the timing belt here, it's very cracked, very dry rotted, and it's about ready to snap. But what I actually found out is that there's a short in the electrical system, and I'm thinking that it's actually by the alternator. The reason being is right now I can spin the alternator freely. The vehicle would try to start, would crank and crank and crank and crank, and all of a sudden it would just come to a dead complete stop. So what I found out is that by accident, I actually left the key on, and I know I should disconnect the battery terminal before starting this process, but I felt like I wasn't really disconnecting anything electrical, so I left the battery in place. But because of this accident, I actually found out that it is now harder to turn the alternator. It doesn't spin freely. Usually when you give these a spin, they'll just keep spinning for a little bit, kind of like a turbo. I'll just keep spooling. But what I found out is that this thing was getting hot, this alternator right here, and the fact that it's magnetized right now, which leads me to believe that there's a possible problem with the magnets inside. One of the magnets may have came loose and is now riding up against the wall, or there is an actual short to ground or shortage in the positive wire leading back to the battery. So if you have a code, put a crank sensor in, you put a coil pack in, you've tried everything, and all else fails, give that a whirl. See if that works. All you really have to do is just take a wrench or something metal, put it up against the pulley, and if it magnetizes it, I would suggest changing out your alternator.